give him the glory. The Bible says that he will give us rivers of living water that will flow out of our soul. How many of you know that water is spiritual life? That water is power to live above the enemy, power to heal the sick, raise the dead. Come on, y'all, let me hear you. I got a river. I got a river. How many know the Lamb that was slain is crucified? Yeah. And he's risen. Yes, he is. They crucified him at Calvary, but he rose to victory. He's alive, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive. All power in his name. He's alive, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive. They crucified him at Calvary. They crucified him at Calvary, but he rose in victory. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. All power in his head. He's alive. He's alive. Jesus is alive. He's alive. He's alive. All power in his head. Hero, hero, in glory, all power, and he conquered my enemy, and he put them under my feet. Hero, hero, in glory, all power, and authority. He conquered my enemy, and he put them under my feet. Hero, hero, glory, all power, and authority. He conquered my enemy, and he put them under my feet. Hero, hero, glory, all power, and authority. He conquered my enemy, and he put them under my feet. Hero, hero, glory, all power, and authority. He conquered my enemy, and he put them under my feet. Hero, hero, glory, hero, hero, glory, hero, hero, glory, and he put them under my feet. Hero, hero, glory, all of those things that I was in. I should have never doubted you.
My name is Alexis. I am with the Red Cross of West Michigan, which is actually based out of Grand Rapids, but as many of you may know, we also have an office here in Muskegon. Myself and my colleague Kelsey, right here to my left, are going to be talking to you about how to perform hands-only CPR. So this is the non-certified version of CPR. If you ever want to be certified in CPR, you can go to redcross.org and there's a button there that says take a class and you can sign up for the certifiable version of CPR. But today we're just going to learn the basics of chest compressions. So right now Kelsey is running around passing out a handout that you're going to follow along to. If you are interested in learning this skill, which I'm assuming everybody sitting is going to, if you're standing and you want to practice as well, just feel free to flag Kelsey down because she can come and give you a handout. Has anybody here ever learned CPR before? All right, so a lot of us. Excellent, excellent. So you guys can kind of be our eyes and ears for everybody else. If somebody needs help, because I'm up here, it'll be kind of hard to help anybody, but if somebody needs help, they can look to you. So, the first portion of CPR, actually we're going to follow a 3-step process. It's called check, call, care. So the very first step, as you'll see on the handout, is check. And there's actually 2 parts to the check portion. The first part is to check the scene. So let's say that somebody has fallen down on the ground or you come up on somebody on the ground, you have no idea why, and they're unconscious. The very first thing you do is take a look around to see what's going on. We have no idea why this person is on the ground. We don't know why they've passed out. There could be a number of things. And the very first and foremost thing that is always in your best interest is your safety. If you don't care about your safety, then there could be 2 people who need help rather than just one. You're not going to do much help if you aren't concerned about your safety. So first we want to make sure the scene is safe. This is particularly important in car accidents. If you're on the side of the road, you want to make sure that it's safe for you to enter a situation, that you're not putting yourself in harm's way. A lot of times we have people who are active shooters, and we don't want to put ourselves in harm's way for that situation either. So we want to check the scene. The next thing that we do is check the person. Does anybody know how we check the person? Yeah, exactly, right up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the person. Oh, let's say Kelsey has fallen down. So I'm going to go up, well first, I'm going to back up. I'm going to just take a couple seconds to check the scene, and then I'm going to go to Kelsey and I'm going to tap her on the shoulder. And I'm going to say, are you okay? I'm going to say it loud and clear enough for her to be able to hear me if she's just taking a nap on the mall floor. I don't know. And then I'm going to do it again. Are you okay? If she does not answer, also when I'm doing this, I'm looking to see if she's breathing. So I'm going to see if her chest is rising and falling. If I can't see that, I might put my hand in front of her nose to see if I can feel any breath. If she's not breathing, the very next thing we do is call. So I can start CPR right now if I've decided that she needs it. But I'm not going to be able to do it forever, right? So I'm going to need to call for help first before I start doing that.
So calling 911 is a very important step, okay? If you check the scene and you think that the scene is maybe unsafe, call 911 immediately. Like Alexis was saying, that if you start CPR, you're really not supposed to stop CPR until like you're too exhausted to continue. And it's super beneficial to have an actual person that's, you know, certified, or a nurse or a doctor, the ambulance coming, to be able to take these people to a hospital, because you don't know what happened to them. They might have hit their head when they fell, might have been a heart attack, might have just been, you know, choking on a piece of candy. You're just not sure. So calling 911, a lot of people nowadays have phones. Obviously, you use your phone to call 911. If you don't have a phone, your phone's dead, you are free to check the person to see if they have a phone and use their phone to call 911. Even if they have a lock screen on their phone, there's still a way to make emergency calls from a locked phone. So you don't have to worry about having to know their passcode or using their fingerprint to unlock their phone. You can make that call. It's also that if there are still payphones around, you can make a call to 911 using a payphone without having to pay for it. And you can also, I think, even if you don't have a landline, if you have a phone that you can plug in, you can still make a call from a landline to 911 without having actual service. If you're in the middle of the woods and come across a body and you don't have a phone and they don't have a phone, you want to go and find a phone before you start anything. Because you don't know if this person is already dead. You can't make that declaration. I can't just choose to like declare somebody dead. Like, oh, they look like they maybe have been here for a while. They're probably not okay anyway. You want to go and find a phone. Even if you're miles away, you know, you have to go call somebody first. It's going to be the best way to get them help. And then if they are already passed away or something else, they have somebody that can be there to get them to where they need to go. So calling 911, super important step. At this point, once you have kind of called 911 and you're about to start actually performing CPR, there is a thing called the Good Samaritan Act, and we do have this in Michigan. And the Good Samaritan Act states as long as you're acting in somebody's best interest, you can't get in trouble for trying to help them. Because obviously, like, you're going to be touching this person, you might break a rib or two on this person when you're performing CPR. You can't get in trouble for that, okay? They can't sue you for saying, well, you broke my rib trying to save my life. I don't know a single person who would do that, but just in case you're worried, they're not allowed to do that. We do have this law in Michigan. We have looked it up and made sure, so this law does exist in the state of Michigan, so you can perform CPR without having to worry about it. So the following portion is care. It's our final C. We've checked the scene, we've checked the person, we've called 911. Now it's time to actually care for this person and do CPR. Now what's really important here is that we're not teaching you the rescue breaths, okay? And I know someone is still gonna ask, what about the rescue breaths? And I'm gonna say it again, we're not teaching you those. It's proven that the hands-only part of CPR is actually just as beneficial as doing it with the breaths. A lot of people also worry about the breathing too much. They kind of freak out about it and they're like, well, I need to get these 2 perfect breaths in there in between these 30 chest compressions that I don't really care about. And so we want to be doing as much as possible within the short time frame that we have. So just going right into it and doing the chest compressions is going to be just as good. So the way I always teach this is you take your dominant hand, so whatever hand you write with, and then I can't do this without holding the speaker, so Alexis is going to demonstrate. You take your other hand and lace your fingers through like so. Don't lace both sets of fingers. You will break your own hand. So just lace the one hand around, firm. And then you're going to find the middle of the person's chest, so the person's sternum. And you're gonna press, I didn't pass out the sternum pictures because that's, you know, yeah. No, I already passed out the hands only thing. So, more than likely they're going to be already on the ground. And so you're gonna be over them, and you wanna have a straight line from your shoulders through your elbows to your wrist. And you're going to be pressing down with the heel of your hand, so right on that part of your hand. Now, this isn't very convenient because normally I would tell you to get down on the floor and practice, but standing up at least usually helps if you want to come to the stage and practice and have that stage there, or you can practice like on your chair, but that's probably going to be the best, is coming up to the stage and putting it down. So very good. So what she's doing here, she has the bust down, and then she has her one hand, and she has laced the other fingers through, and then she is pressing down on the bust with the heel of the hand. The reason we use these buses is because roughly are the same density as the human chest. So it's a good, you know, you can get a good idea of how hard you actually have to press. You have to press pretty hard, right? So the other thing is that you have to be going a certain speed in order to do this. Anywhere from 100 to like 120 beats a minute is ideal. We always practice with 100 beats a minute. We have a song that we practice to. Some of you might know this song. I don't know, it's not very popular. It's called Staying Alive. It's by the Bee Gees or something. I'm just kidding. It's a good song, right? So, oh, it froze on me. Also, I'm sorry you can't keep these buses. They're like really expensive for some reason. So I know, it's the worst. But the buses they do have to make it back to us. So once we're done, if you can put them back up and this thing on the stage, that'd be great. Okay, so Alexis is gonna start Staying Alive, and then we're gonna go to the beat of the music. Bum, 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 bum.
All right, girl, we got rhythm.
All right.
You are certainly the most energetic group I have. I love it. Good job, you guys. So, this is a funny story. One time I was teaching this to a bunch of like 4th or 5th graders, and I told them that I wrote this song, and they all believed it. So I was like, yeah, I actually wrote this song, like clearly joking, and all of them were like, you wrote this? And I was like, no, I didn't.
Thanks very much.
So, one of the things I like to point out is that if you did that for a very long period of time, you would get very tired. You guys were clearly working hard there, but if you were really, you know, on the ground, pushing down on this person, your knees would start hurting, your back, your wrists, everything. Which is why we really want you to call 911. There's only so much we can do as human beings without like a bunch of other things. So near the bottom of your sheet, you have number 3, I believe it says, do not stop. And there are several reasons why you would stop, okay? So you keep going until either you're too exhausted to continue, you do this for 10, 20 minutes, ambulance still isn't there yet, you're gonna be tired. We don't need 2 dead bodies or passed out bodies, okay? So you're allowed to stop once you're very exhausted. Once EMS arrives, a trained professional arrives, you're allowed to stop. They might have some questions for you just to say what happened, you know, and you can say, oh, I saw them hit their head on the sidewalk, so I started doing CPR, you know, that's enough. It's possible that doing CPR will wake this person up. And a great thing to know is to just not panic if that happens. If this person wakes up, you had done CPR on them, and they all of a sudden are like, whoa, what happened? Don't freak out. Don't just say, oh my gosh, it was so weird. You like totally just fell over and you like hit your head on the sidewalk and I don't even know. Like I just started doing CPR. I hope you're okay. Like that's not going to be helpful for them. So being very calm, you know, introducing yourself, saying what you saw. Hi, my name is Kelsey. I saw you just fall over on the sidewalk. I started doing CPR. The ambulance is on their way. I'd like you to just sit here for a few minutes. You can't force them to stay for the ambulance to come. But you should try and convince them to, because again, you don't know what happened, you don't know why they passed out. Oh, that's my phone. That's the noise that's happening. Sorry, I'm not used to hearing a ringtone. I am CPR certified, and so is Alexis. And if we saw somebody, just a citizen doing CPR but not doing the rescue breaths, we could come up to you and say, if you would like, I can take it from here, I'm CPR certified. And you're of course more than welcome to stick around to help out. It's really great if you have one or two people, like 2 or 3 people who can rotate in and out. So that way when one person gets really tired, another person can take over. And then if the scene becomes unsafe, so I'm going to go back to this car accident that we had earlier, and you checked the scene and it seemed okay at first, and so you went to perform CPR, you had called 911, and all of a sudden you start to smell gasoline, and you realize that gas is leaking from the car. It's your job to get yourself out of there. Now, people like to argue with me on the fact that they would say, I'm going to bring this person with me. But you don't know if they have back damage, if they, and you don't want to be dragging them away. If it's a child and you feel that you could lift them safely, you can try, but we don't want you to put any extra strain on yourself. If I had this accident happen and if it was my little brother or sister, I could probably move them safely. But if it was my mother or father, I would not want to try because I wouldn't want to damage them further. If the ambulance is coming, it's best to get yourself a safe distance away and just keep an eye on the situation until the trainer spotters come. So our final thing on that sheet is actually about AEDs. And Alexis is going to talk about those.
Alright, so AED, not that it matters, but it stands for Automated External Defibrillator. Automated External Defibrillator. So this is what the use of an AED in a heart emergency increases somebody's chance of living so much, like 80%. I mean, something ridiculous. So if there's an AED available, it is really, really important that you get something for you and you use it. And they're very, very easy to use because they talk to you. I believe they have shown that I think a 5-year-old, an untrained 5-year-old successfully used an AED before. So it's very easy. I wish I had one to show you, but I don't. But if you pull it off the wall, you turn it on, and it's just going to start talking to you and tell you exactly what to do. It's going to say to call 911 if you haven't already. It's going to say to remove the person's clothing, and then you put sticky pads on their chest and one on their side, and then it'll show you, it has a diagram exactly of how to do it, of where to place them, and then it'll do pretty much everything else for you. It'll say it's analyzing the rhythm, it'll tell you to keep doing CPR, it'll tell you if you need to shock the person, you'll push the button and shock them. So it's really, really easy to use, it's kind of foolproof. But it could be the one thing that saves somebody's life, so it's really important. So for CPR and AED stuff, are there any questions? Okay. If you do have questions, it might be easier. Our table is right over there, so you can feel free to visit us, ask us any questions that you have. The last portion of our presentation is how to deal with somebody if they're choking. So a lot of times people are like, oh, the Heimlich maneuver, which is great, it'll work, but that's only part of it. So if somebody's choking, if somebody needs CPR, they're passed out, right? They can't really answer you. So it is what we call informed consent. That basically it's informed, or I'm sorry, not informed, implied, thank you. Implied consent. So it's implied that they want you to help them, although they can't tell you physically that they want help. With choking, it's different because they're awake, usually. If they're not awake, you should be doing CPR. So if they're awake still, and they're saying I'm choking, you actually have to get permission before you help them. So it's something really quick. Generally, people who are choking are going to say that they want help. But it's more of just, are you choking? Do you want help? And most people will say, yeah. So if somebody's choking, generally, the universal sign for choking is putting your hand up to your throat and not breathing. And what you're going to do is, do you want to, while I talk about it? So you're going to make your dominant hand, or actually either hand, it doesn't matter, into a fist. And then you're gonna put that right at the base of your ribs. Right where if you press hard enough, it's gonna hurt a little bit. It's like knock the wind out of you kind of thing. So right at it's actually right where your diaphragm is. So that's what controls your lungs. So you're gonna put that there, and then you're gonna take the other hand and cover it, like that. And this is how you would do it, you know, you would be behind somebody and reach around them and do it like that. There you go. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to pull up and hard. So kind of an upward motion. You're gonna do that 5 times. So 5 abdominal thrusts, and then you're gonna turn the person around, if I can use you. You're gonna bend them over your arm, and then you're gonna give them 5 back blows right in between the shoulder blades. So you're gonna lean them almost all the way forward like this, and then give them 5 back blows right between the shoulder blades. So it's 5 thrusts, 5 back blows, and you keep doing that until either the object comes out or they become unconscious. If they become unconscious, that's when you start CPR. Always call 911 in the event of somebody choking. There could be things that happen after somebody chokes. Let's say they choked and then you got the object out. There could be other damage, so just make sure you call 911 and, you know, for a trained professional to help them out. Check them out, make sure everything is good. So until the object comes out or they become unconscious. Yeah. Oh, for kids. That's what I was going to say. So that's how you do it for adults. If they're a child or an infant, which is, it's generally based on size. If you can pick them up with one hand comfortably, they're an infant, you're going to do the same process, but just a little differently. So with an infant, you're going to hold their head in your arms, and then you're going to use 2 fingers to press on their chest like you would do with the adult, but just 2 fingers. And then you're going to flip them over and do the back blows, all while their head is down. Yep. So it's a little bit different. Of course, we don't want to be like squeezing a baby, or you know, but it is the same process essentially. And I think that's it. I think that's all I got for you. Thank you. One last thing that I will say is that, as many of you may know, Hurricane Harvey in Texas is going on right now. I've gotten a lot of questions at our table about how to help. If you're interested in helping in any way, either go to redcross.org or you can call the local Red Cross here in Muskegon and they'll let you know how you can help, okay? Thank you guys so much.
In the name of Jesus. Lord, today let somebody be delivered.
In the name of Jesus.
Somebody